Hi, everybody. It's episode 456 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It's Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. I am Chris. With me is Drootin.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Hi, everyone.
How's everybody enjoying their day today?
It's been alright.
Right.
You know, as rough it has been today, probably better than Matt Mercer's yesterday.
Right, I saw his Twitter got hacked.
Yeah.
Oh,
Apparently so did LeVar Burton.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, like a bunch of people, apparently.
Critical Role tweeted out at some point last night, guys, it's alright, just so you know, Matt Mercer isn't actually selling MacBooks. Do not respond to his messages. So yeah, his Twitter got hacked.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sure that's going to keep happening because Twitter keeps making really stupid fucking decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people I follow a good number of people who pay for Twitter Blue that don't have their mark. There's a lot of people, I don't know about, like, the Critical Role cast, how they feel about Twitter Blue, but I know there's a lot of celebrities and just influencers who are well known that are like, I refuse to pay for this. I shouldn't have to pay for this. This was something that was just given back in the day.
Yeah, and so, like, the whole verification thing, like, it's not just so that it's not just for them to feel special. Like, it literally proves that they are the notable person and not, like, just, some random person trying to impersonate and catfish people.
Yeah.
Like, without that actual thing in place, like every other fucking platform has, there's no reason to interact with anybody that, like, claims that they are of any notoriety. Because there's no way to prove it's actually them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's absolutely frustrating, because I know, I tweeted about this the other day, but I know my reach has definitely dropped, because it's, I feel like in most social media outlets, it feels like I've been shadow banned lately. Like, my reach has died completely. But Twitter, like, I think I had a post. I tried just posting something on Monday without hashtags, and it got the same number of views as something that did with hashtags.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's just like because I'm not Twitter Blue, I'm not getting seen.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that is how that is working now, and it's really, really stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, like, I saw right after, because, like, so they've had Twitter Blue for a while, and for a long time it was like, if you hovered over it, it would say, this person is verified because they subscribed to Twitter Blue, or this person is verified because they may be, like, a notable person. Now they got rid of that one. But there were some people, like Stephen King still has his check mark, and he was mad about it. Mm-hmm. Because apparently Elon Musk actually came out and said that he was personally allowing some people to have the Twitter Blue check mark. And Stephen King was one of them. And he's like, no, absolutely not. I do not want people to think that I am paying for this platform.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a good number of celebrities out there that are feeling that same way. Like, I don't think this should be a paid service. I don't think people should think I'm paying for it. You are kind of defaming my name at this point, because they've spoken outright about the fact that they don't.
Yeah, and I know, like, Dan Slott, who is a comic book writer, he was very active on Twitter, and he is still kind of active, but not nearly as much, because, like, there's no protection for him from all of the online harassment that he gets being a person who writes about fucking fictional characters.
Yeah.
Like, the dude gets death threats because people don't like what he writes about Spider-Man when he's not writing the Spider-Man story.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
He has literally posted pictures online, and, like, he usually scratches out the names of people, like, attacking him for something a character did on a book he had nothing to do with.
Yeah. Of course.
And it's like, being verified, like, gives you more functionality with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's easier to block those things and to scope your feed so that you only see what you want to see. And, like, $8 a month ends up being, like, Drew, you're good at math. What's 8 times 12?
Like 90.
$102 or something?
96.
I was close. Good on me.
8 times 2 is 16 plus 80 is 96.
Yep.
That was a weird way to do that.
No.
That's exactly how you do it.
That's how you do it.
That is how you do multiplication.
I've never heard anyone do multiplication that way.
8 times 10 is 80. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 80 is 96.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone do it like that before.
8. So here. Get a pen and paper.
No, that's
or
a lot
something.
of work.
12 times 8. The 8 is at the bottom. The 12, the 1, 2 is at the top. 8
Right.
times 2 is 6, and put the 1 over the 1 at the tens. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 8 times 10 and 8 plus times 2. 8 times 10 plus 8 times 2 is 96. 8 times 12 is 96.
I mean, the way that you just did it for 8 times 12, like, yes, that is the normal way to do it longhand. I've never seen anyone break it into 10 and 2 before.
Well, I mean, that was taught to me in, like, 4th grade. You can break it down it's, as long as you're adding the 2 multiplications and not multiplying the 2 multiplications, it's all the same, because that's how times tables works. It's just 8 times.
I've never seen that before.
8 times 2 is just 8 plus 8. So if you want to do 8 times 12, you just do 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 12 times.
I mean, that I do know.
And so if you're doing 8 times 12, you do 8 times 6, 8 times 6, add those together is 96.
I mean, I know most numbers up to 11. Once you get past 11, it's a whole different ballgame.
Oh, boy.
I mean, literally multiplying any 2-digit number by any one, like, especially by any 1-digit number, is just multiply the ones digit by the other digit, and then 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, whatever, by the other digit, and add that.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
But also really, I mean, multiplying 2-digit numbers by 2-digit numbers, same thing, except you're going one more step, or I guess 2 more steps.
Look, I will never claim to be good at math. I am fucking dreadful at math. And I'm pretty sure, like, the age when I switched schools, I think that I just, like, there's stuff that people say they learned in elementary school that I never learned.
That's very possible.
Like,
That,
going from Woodland to Collingswood, like, I think they may have just had things, like, slightly skewed at, like, grade levels.
Maybe.
That's totally possible. When did you move?
4th grade. 4th
You
grade was the last year I was in Collingswood.
You got the same math education as Drootin and you and me, because y'all had Miss Catulli and so did I.
Yeah, no, I remember learning, like, the basic multiplication, but we only did up to 10.
No, we did
But
12s.
but also, Cobb, multiplying anything, all you need to know is up to 10, honestly. And then you
Yeah.
just add
I mean,
numbers
that's true.
together.
That's
That's
that
all
is
multiplication is.
American math.
And add
well,
zeros
the way,
on the end if needed. But
hold on, we gotta correct this because it's different nowadays. The way we were taught for multiplication is all memory. The way my nieces are going to be taught is all Common Core and is different. It's not memory.
But it doesn't fucking matter how they're taught it now versus how we were taught it.
But
literally all you need to know to multiply anything is all the 1-digit numbers and then whether or not you're adding zeros on and shit.
yes, agreed. We were taught to memorize the 1 digits, though. Kids nowadays aren't, as far as I know, are not taught to memorize.
Yeah,
So
they're taught that
us-
weird, like, block method thing.
We learned 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33,
I fucking
36.
could not tell you the times tables. I don't have that shit memorized.
I can.
Like-
It was drilled into us. I can give you most of them. I'm not going to say I can give you all of them. I can give you most of them because it was drilled into us. But kids, as far as I know nowadays, aren't getting that drilled into them like it was to us. That's all I'm saying. So yes, it is easy for us because it's memorization. But for younger kids, they're being taught Common Core with the different box methods and things like that. They're being taught differently, which honestly, people hate Common Core. It's better because it's not just memorization.
I mean, yes and no. I feel like some of it is absolutely ridiculous. Even like I honestly probably do a lot of my mental math like quote unquote Common Core way, but there are times where I've seen questions and I'm like, you've extrapolated this into an even more abstract concept that makes even less sense, and it's like
because
this
we
doesn't
were
help.
taught in grade school, we were taught the answer, whereas they're being taught how to get the answer.
I mean, we're taught how to get the answer. 3 times 3 is 9.
Yeah, but how? Why? We know 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, yes. But, like, you know 3 times 3 is 9 because I can, like I said, like, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56...
64.
Yeah,
72,
I was getting there. I was getting for it. Yeah.
80,
Like
88,
I
96.
know that because I was taught the answers. I don't know that because I'm doing the math in my head.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't do mental math unless it's just 2 single-digit numbers or like addition. It's never been a skill I had. Like if I have like a paper or something like that, or like I have time to like sign it out with my hands, like I can do larger numbers. But like you're right, like I know what 5 times 5 is.
Yeah, I can do like you were saying, Drew, like any number times a single number. I can do that in my head because I was taught to memorize the single number times a single number all the way up. But if you're giving me any number times a double or higher times a double or higher, that's where then like I would need a pen. I can do it in my head, but I'm actually like putting it in the air and whatnot and figuring it out, and like actually have to do the math. But it is still the way I'm doing it is based on the memorization of single number times single number, and not how to actually do it. Like that's the difference between like.
But that is how you actually do it. Like that is what I'm saying. Is the way we were taught it is still how you do it. Like it's not like an invalid way of doing it.
It's not an invalid way, but it is also less. I don't know, less intuitive.
I kind of disagree. Well, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what. Aside from handful of things that I've seen, I really don't know how they're teaching it. But
it's because again, it's not teaching you problem solving. It's teaching you memorization. So because I can do 56 times 22 because I remember 2 times 6, 2 times 5. Well, that's a bad one because it's all 2s. But you get what I'm saying. I can do 143 times 77. I almost did 77 again. Like 72 because I know 2 times 3, 2 times 4, 2 times 1, 7 times 3, 7 times 4, 7 times 1. And I can just do the addition after that. But with the newer methods of Common Core and with the box methods and things like that, they're actually given the problem solving of how it's done and like it is more mind expanding potentially.
But from what I've seen, isn't it just basically the way we were taught to do it with, maybe an extra step? It is like you multiply the 50 by 2, the 6 by 2, the 50 by 70 or 7, and whatever. Isn't it really not that different? Like, I feel like you think that we were taught it literally, here's just a chart of every number.
That's what I was taught, though.
Yeah, like that's
in
like
third
in third grade.
That's what I was taught.
But then we were taught in like 6th grade, like, but even when we were taught that, it was then okay, and then here's what it goes to when you do double, 2-digit numbers by 2-digit numbers. You multiply the 56 by 2, you multiply the 56 by 7, and shift everything to the right or left one number because you add the 2 zeros or whatever. Like we were taught that shit.
Again, it was 56 times 27. I was taught 7 times 6, 7 times 5.
Or 7 times 50.
20 times 6, 20, or 2 times 6, 2 times 5 with the 0 added, and then add that all together.
Right.
Like that. Like it was still that memorization of single number times a single number.
Again, I don't know how they're teaching it, but I don't I don't know how really.
Yeah, I feel like
really be much different now. Like
the numbers
are
memorization. Doesn't
the numbers are still numbers. They will always be numbers. They will always math out to the same thing, no matter how the fuck you get there. Like I don't know how they remember 7 times 2 differently than
because
we remember
they're not
7
being
times 2.
Taught to remember. They're being taught to do the math.
But
that's what I'm saying.
But you remembering is doing the math. Like
no, me remembering is just going off this chart that I was given that I had to drill into my head.
But like I don't know. Rich, I have a legit question.
Yeah.
Because you've probably seen this because of Eric and Audrey's kids, I assume, right?
Yeah. So they're not quite there yet, but
okay.
Gwen
but like
legitimate
question then. So we were like we've both agreed. Like 3rd grade, we were taught memorization.
Mm-hmm.
It's just 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 5 is 10, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
when they're doing like the breakdown, like yes, like I understand they're being taught that like 2 times 5 is just 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2.
But we were
But,
also
like,
taught that.
Isn't it? No, Drew, hang on.
Yeah.
Like, we are. Like, I agree. Like, but they're being taught to do it longhand that way rather than just memorization. But, like, long term, aren't they still really just memorizing? Because they're just going to eventually learn that 2 times 5 is 10. They're not going to keep doing 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, right?
Maybe. I don't really know. But yes, you're right. We were taught 2 times 10 is 2 plus 2 plus 2, 10 times whatever. But what I believe people are being taught nowadays isn't 2 times 10 is 20, and is more just strictly 2 times 10 is 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. So yes, they're doing it the long form and not memorizing it. Are they going to eventually learn? Yes, but the basis of the new math that they're being learned isn't memorization. That is my point. Yes, the math is the same. They're still doing math, but they're being taught in a different way than we were taught. I was taught to memorize what each of these single digits multiplication times tables equaled, whereas they're being taught to do the math.
I don't know. Like,
I don't remember
I'm
being
not
told to
disagreeing.
memorize the multiplication table.
I literally had a pizza party because I memorized the times tables.
I believe you did.
I actually remember that too, like in 3rd grade, and like it was literally you had to be able to do up to 10.
We had
like
to do
every
up to 12.
I only remember having to do up to 10. But you had to do 1 to 10 times every number up to 10 or 12, whatever. And if you didn't do it, you didn't get to go to the pizza party. You had to just stay in the classroom with like the class aide until you could do it.
Yeah.
And there was like that thing on the wall.
Yeah. There was a thing on the wall, and you had to do your 1s, your 2s, your 3s, your 4s, all the way up to 12s. You had to do them all separately. So even if you did 1 through 9, and you still had to remember 9 times 12 on each of them, that doesn't mean that you did your 12 times tables. You had to do them each separately. Because I was taught to look at math as a grid, and 1 times 12 is this, and 12 times 9 is this. That's how I was taught my multiplication.
Yeah, like, I agree.
12 times 3 is 36 because it falls on the grid where 12 and 3 would be 36.
I actually don't remember being taught what multiplication actually was. Like, I just remember, like, it making sense by, like, middle school.
Yeah, and again, you changed schools in elementary school, which is very likely because back then there wasn't there was a curriculum that, like a statewide curriculum that needed to be hit, but it probably varied from school to school where you would, and it varied from class to class where they would sit depending on how well the students did.
Yeah. And, like, I have always been bad at math. Like, math was always the part that I did worst on during, like, all the standardized testing and all. Like, I was actually better at, like, the more, like, abstract stuff, like algebra and things like that, where it's just like, all right, well, find the letter. Because, like, that just made more sense than, like, remembering how to do long division or fractions. Like, fuck fractions. I still don't fully understand them.
They're opposite.
I guess I should specify. I fully understand fractions. If you ask me to do any sort of arithmetic with fractions, it's just not going to happen.
What if I told you algebra was just that?
I don't believe you.
It's all algebra is.
It
like,
is
algebra
is
just it's just regular math, but hey, we hid one of the numbers from you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like a word. It's like a puzzle. I like puzzles.
Yeah.
Other math isn't a puzzle. Other math is just memorization.
Well, I mean,
all math is the same.
It was always sad in algebra class because my teacher was always asking me to find their x, and I'm like, well, I'm here in school, so like I can't right now.
Can we mute him?
Rich, what's on the agenda?
So after that thrilling math discussion, I finished Remnant from the Ashes, and I started Star Ocean: The Divine Force. So we're going to talk about that for a bit. Drew, you played something called Tape to Tape, which I don't know what that is.
I bet it's a hockey game.
I'm assuming it's a board game, but he'll let us know. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and we all should have watched Star Trek from 2009, which, fun fact, I almost watched the 3rd Star Trek movie until I realized that wasn't the one that we were...
That would have been really funny if me and Drew were sitting here talking about the one from 2009 and you're like talking about whatever the fuck happened in the third one.
Star Trek Beyond. It's the only one I haven't seen of that trilogy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw. I think it's Into the Dark or Into Dark or.
It's like Into Darkness. I think is the actual title.
Yeah. I want to say it's Into Darkness, but also isn't that the Spider-Man musical? So I'm not really 100%.
No, that is Spider-Man Alone in the Dark.
Oh,
yeah, Turn Off the Dark, not Alone in the Dark. Alone in the Dark is a game.
Oh yeah,
Alone
and a really bad movie.
But yeah, so the only one I haven't seen was Beyond, and that was. I think that came out the year Suicide Squad came out, and Suicide Squad won the makeup Emmy. Yeah, that was so Beyond, Star Trek Beyond, and Suicide Squad, the first one, both came out the same year, and Suicide Squad was the one that won the Emmy for best makeup, and people were furious because it was like, oh, look at all these, it's just Harley Quinn with fake tattoos, and it's like, yeah, but everyone in Star Trek Beyond were CG'd. So that's why they didn't win the best makeup.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's our show. Rich, how is Remnant from the Ashes and Star Ocean?
So, Remnant from the Ashes, we talked about it in like the bit last week. That's a fun game. It really is. I enjoyed it a lot. It is very replayable. So the story itself is maybe like...
On a scale of 1 to 100, it has to be divisible by 3, though. Like, how much do you think you liked it?
Let's see. Divisible by 3. Rules for threes again.
The 2 digits. If the 2 digits have to add up to also then be divisible by 3.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
Okay.
I believe 9 is.
So 1 to 100, but divisible by 3. So does that mean I only have 1 to 33 at that point?
No.
Or is it still like the number still has to be picked?
No, I mean, like, you could pick 90 because 3 goes into 90.
Okay, so it's not like the score is equal to what the division is. It's just the score.
No, it just has to be evenly divisible by 3.
Okay. I would have to say, who's a good one? Probably a 72.
Okay. No,
Probably
Drew, can you confirm that
yeah,
that is divisible by 3?
9.
Yep.
Yeah, 7
No,
plus 2 is 9.
I know. I was kidding.
I picked that number just because it was easy. Maybe 75. We'll go with 75. But yeah, it was it is a very enjoyable game. Very replayable because once you beat the story, which is only about like let's say sub 10 hours, it's just you can then continue to do the adventure mode, which is just playing through the region that's kind of roguelite. Where, like, each time you run an adventure scenario, you might run into different bosses, or go into different, like, special events that might happen or might be available, different puzzles that might be there. Sometimes you might have to run a world, like, several times to be able to see everything, or to be able to figure out other puzzles. There is also a roguelite mode called the survival mode, which I haven't even touched yet, because... it goes through all of the biomes, and I didn't want to spoil any of the biomes before actually getting to them in the story. So that I do plan on doing that very soon. But it's a very good shooter. The final boss is kind of weird, and if you're built, okay, where were we?
You were talking about Remnant from the Ashes.
Yeah. Let's see. The game is super replayable with the whole adventure mode and the roguelite mode that I haven't been able to get into. And it is very, there's no, like, real online purpose. There's no, like, multiplayer or anything. Or there's multiplayer, but there's no, like, competitive or anything like that. It's just really, honestly, I said this last week, Drew, because, I was like, it was Destiny mixed with Soulsborne, but it's also, like, it gives me kind of, a little bit Diablo feel, not as much looter shooter. Like, it's not as much like, what's it called? The Borderlands, but it's still like, you can just make different loadouts based on your weapons and the mods, which is the magic powers that you've gotten. And you can just set it up, to where one of the loadouts that somebody was using, I didn't have to do anything. I just walked behind them and they destroyed all the enemies as they were walking by. And it's just like explosions and lightning bolts all over the place. Or you can, for me, I was doing like a full-on summoner build, so I would summon two mounted turrets and a dog. and they would just wreck everything. And as they're wrecking everything, it would heal me because of an accessory that I have. And so anytime they would run out, by the time they would run out with the equipment and loadout that I had, by the time their timer would run out, I'd be able to summon 2 more turrets and another dog. And just sit there and, like, I was using a laser rifle, so I would just, like, beam them with the laser rifle the whole time. And it's just, like, it all works very well together, and it all feels very solid and smooth. The aiming is, like, it's not RPG aiming, so it's, like, you're hitting where you're shooting. There's a little bit of, like, recoil or bullet spread, but besides that, like, you're hitting where you're shooting. Where you're aiming is where you're shooting.
I was slightly confused by what you meant there when you said RPG aiming. I'm like, it took me a second for that to, like, actually click.
I guess maybe more like Fortnite aiming, where you could aim right in front of you and shoot 30 meters to your right. It's stuff like where it's like there's no, like, dice roll shooting, right? Like, you're shooting where you're aiming, which is nice. The gunplay feels very good. I didn't really do a lot of melee because the game is built to have melee, and you can make a melee build, but it's honestly kind of boring to me. Maybe if I had different mods, it might have felt a little less boring, but it's kind of dull sitting there just swinging your sword. It's not a well-built system for me. But yeah,
that's valid.
Yeah. I had a really good time playing it. I wish I played it back in the day. They had a event today for the sequel, showing off gameplay and things like that, new classes and how it's going to work. And I am super interested to watch that. I was hoping to watch it during work, but work was shit today, so I wasn't able to. I was barely able to watch half of what I wanted to do, or do half of what I wanted to do during work today. So it was just a bad day with work. But I will probably watch that tonight after we get done here. But from what I'm hearing, it's going above and beyond what this game did. It is also, I did find out after, like, midway through playing it, this is a sequel to another game.
Oh.
There's a game called Chronos Within Ashes or something like that was more Soulsborne-esque, but it was all melee and there was no gunplay, that I hear is just not that great. And it actually, the final boss in this game is the main character from that game.
Huh.
And, it's weird, like, the longer you play, the older your character gets, but, like, if you're able to reach the age of, like, 80, you're apparently just immortal in the world. So, like, one of the characters that you meet in this game, he is the grandfather of the commander that picks you up at the beginning of the game, and he's, like, 180 years old, but he looks like he's, like, 70.
Huh.
Yeah. It's interesting. I want to watch a lore video for it, because there was a lot of lore, there's a lot of, like, in-depth information.
You mentioned that the other day, last week.
Yeah, I just beat the game last night. Otherwise, I would have watched it before we recorded. Or I would have found something to watch before we recorded, but I just beaten it last night.
Oh, and there's a sequel coming out this year.
Yeah, Remnant 2, which is, like I said, that's they showed a video for it today. So one of the classes is the handler, which you get a dog to command. And the dog you can set it to, like, offense, defense, and support. And, like, support will, like, heal you, and anybody who's around the dog will get healed while standing in his aura, or offense, he'll go and attack, and he'll boost, like, attack damage or something like that. And like, you can command it, so it's like, the game is 3 players at a time, and so it's like, oh great, we're gonna have 3 people and 3 dogs, because we're all gonna use a dog class. But the only thing that, like, I didn't really like, and I think I kind of mentioned this last time, was that you're given a class to select at the beginning of the game, but it doesn't matter after about 2 hours, because all the class selection does is gives you your starting equipment and starting mod, starting traits. But from doing the adventure mode in the first area, you can get the traits for the other 2 classes by fighting certain bosses in the first region, in the Earth region. So you just at some point or another, it's just like, all right, now just play however you want. If you found a comfortable play style, play that way. You don't have to play the way that you started, because everything's available to you. Which I'm like, that's cool, but also at the same time, it makes, like, class selection kind of pointless. Just maybe like I don't know. I felt weird. It felt a little off. Like why make me have this choice if it doesn't matter?
That is true.
Well,
Like-
I mean, like, it doesn't not matter entirely, but to your point, like, eventually it didn't matter.
It
Like,
literally,
because you could never go get all those other skills.
yeah, you could never go get those skills, but it's only two of them. It's only two other traits, which don't really make a difference. That big of a difference. Because, like, for instance, I started as the hunter class, which is like the sniper, the long range, and his trait is reduces enemy detection on you. And so you can max that out to like 20% less detectable. Which, sure, it's super less detectable, but like that doesn't really do much. At least the hunters isn't that great. The maybe the melees is different. Maybe it's like increased melee damage or defense. I can't remember. And the warlocks is like increased mod power. But it's like every trait maxes out at level 20. Generally, it's plus 20%, so each level into the trait is plus 1%. And like it doesn't, after a certain point, because the traits are unlimited, it doesn't really make a difference. I know people that are level 700, 800 in this game, and still don't have all the traits unlocked. But at one point or another, it starts to become like, alright, well, you're a god doing whatever the hell you want to do, because everything's maxed.
Yeah, I mean, if it's replayable enough to get you there, like, cool. But also, like, that's kind of very Diablo 1-ish, honestly. Like, Diablo 1 has no skill tree. Like, the skills are random. Like, it's if you find the spell books, cool, and have the right amount of intelligence to read the spell book. That's the only skill. And, like, the characters had slight different attack speeds with certain weapons. But otherwise, like, the only difference was their base stats and one ability that really, like, you never use.
Yeah, and so in Remnant 2, in the next one, the classes will matter. Like, but it's maybe this might have answered during the thing. Like I said, I haven't watched it yet. But, like, it's believed that maybe you're going to be able to jump between classes. But, like, you still have to select your class before you're going into a run. Whereas in Remnant From the Ashes, if you go into a run and you go to a location where your build out isn't worth it, you can just straight up change everything in the middle of the run to whatever you want. But there is also a roguelite mode where you start in one region and you start with base equipment and you just go up from there. That I haven't done yet. I really want to try that. I'm super excited to get it. There is also like a DLC campaign that I got that I didn't get into yet. But I hear it's only like 3 or 4.
Yeah. So I was just looking up kind of what you were saying before about the prequel to it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny. It seems like the game Chronos wasn't originally a prequel. It was originally like a separate game. Came out before Remnant From the Ashes as an Oculus Rift game. That they then in 2020 overhauled into a like just console game. And added the subtitle before the Ashes and labeled it as a prequel to Remnant From the Ashes.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, so I definitely, if besides Cub, if you're interested in this game, if this sounds fun, if you like kind of replayability and Destiny style shooting and just like honestly, being able to just I kind of feel like you could just shut off for like an hour and play this game and like get stuff done or just relax while playing it. It starts off pretty tough, but it gets obviously the more you play, the easier it gets because you just become more and more of a god. But it's a fun game.
And what about Star Ocean?
I am enjoying Star Ocean more than I expected I was going. I'm only about 3 to 4 hours in. And, like, it's got mixed reviews on Steam, so I was, like, cautious. But it's getting, like, I looked online to just see, like, where those mixed reviews stand with everyone else, and it got, like, 6 to 7s, maybe, like, 7.5s. And I'm like, okay, alright, so it's not a bad game, it's just, it's
pretty middle of the road.
Yeah. Which, honestly, like we all know, I don't think a 7 should be considered middle of the road. High middle, sure, I guess, if anything, but not middle of the road.
No, look, we all know the scale ends at 6.5.
Yeah.
Like 7's about the worst game you could play.
Exactly. But I got into it and I was like, alright, I kept my expectations low because I was seeing a lot of people, like, saying that it's mixed reviews and whatnot. And I'm enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun with the combat style. It's very similar to Tales of Arise, where you have like your ability gauge that each attack that you would use uses part of that gauge, and so you have to let that fill up. The enemies, I've never played a Star Ocean game, so I don't know how closely named these enemies are to other Star Ocean games, but I am loving the names of some of the enemies. So, what would you name a bandit in your own fantasy game? Like, say it's a normal enemy that you're fighting that's called a bandit, that would be considered just like the generic bandit.
Carl.
What would you name? Well, like, generic, fine, we would fight a bunch of Carls. That's fine.
Yeah.
Drew, they call these guys scumbags.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I was like, this is good. I like this. I'm enjoying this. I can't think of, like, any of the other names, but, like, scumbags really stood out for me. And I'm like, I like it. And the enemy design itself is probably still very similar to how the design was in the old Star Ocean games, but, like, modernized. That they, like, it's kind of weird to see this, like, kind of realistic world with these kind of cartoony monsters and enemies that, like, it fits. It's like, it gives me a combination of Final Fantasy and Dragon Age into one, and, like, I like it a lot.
I think I actually own a Star Ocean game. Hang on a sec. I mean, you can talk.
Yeah. The story, this is one thing I'm really enjoying about the story is, like, it didn't get super JRPG with you right from the get-go. Like, when I say I played for 3.5 hours, I played for 3 hours. Like, that's really good for a JRPG. To start a game and in the first 3.5 hours get to play for 3 hours, that's amazing. Because it's usually the other way around. Like this one, it's weird because you get to pick a starting character, and so you pick the character and they give you a small little snippet of backstory, and then they introduce the other character almost immediately, and then you just like, alright, go, do the next part of the quest. Do the quest. Do this next leg of the mission. And it's just like, alright, okay, I don't have to sit here and listen to you talk for 3 hours? I can actually play right away? This is weird. And like, there wasn't a lot of over dialogue. It wasn't overly dialogued. It did give me bits and pieces of the story in a decent amount of time. Like, I liked how they introduced and threw the story in a lot better than Tales of Arise did, for sure. Let me tell you that. And one thing that I loved about this game is that the characters talked while running around, and you didn't have to stop and let them talk for 20 minutes and 3 sets of conversations, like in Tales of Arise.
I don't think I own a Star Ocean game anymore, but I think I may have at one point.
I feel like I knew someone who had a Star Ocean, but I don't know who. I probably wasn't you. It might have been you. But I don't know.
Oh, no, I had Lunar. I had the Lunar
Yeah.
Silver Star story, not Star Ocean.
But yeah, it's pretty good. It's beautiful. If you look up at the sky during the night, it's a beautiful sky. It's got some interesting mechanics to it that I'm still trying to figure out, and it's got a huge ass sphere grid in the game for leveling up. So you get SP, I think it's spirit points or whatever, for getting level ups, and you use those to allocate into this grid that, like, each character has 2 paths they can take, either magic or attack. One of the characters has like 3 paths they can take with magic, attack, or defense or something like that. And it's like the further out it's generally between 25 and 100 SP per thing that you're trying to upgrade or trying to learn. And like some of them are passive abilities, some of them are just general stat increases, and some of them are active abilities. That it's just like, all right, this is a cool system. Like, I can pick and choose what I'm learning, what I'm leveling up and getting to. So if I want somebody to focus on magic, I'll send them in the magic route. And that's kind of what I have right now is one dude going defense, one dude going magic, and one person going attack. Really early on, I got the ability to increase experience gain by 23%. So I'm like, yeah, let's do that, because why not? And
you said you were only about 4 hours in?
Yeah, 3.5, 4 hours in, something like that. I started it on Monday.
Do you know how long it is?
About 40 hours.
Okay, so you've got a while.
I've got a while, but at the same time, with my current schedule of like play whatever the fuck I want, it'll be done by the end of the month. But I honestly might get it done within the next 2 weeks or so, depending on like what I decide to play each day and who's available. I'm probably going to dedicate 1 or 2 long stream Sundays to playing it, because it is an RPG, so you need a lot of time into it. And once I'm fully clear of Remnant stuff, like Remnant and Monster Hunter are going to be interchangeable each week that I play. So it's like maybe 1 week will be Remnant, 1 week will be Monster Hunter, instead of like a day for each, just because it's like, alright, whatever I'm feeling that day is what I'll play that day. And so right now it's dedicating a lot of time to either Star Ocean or Remnant, or whatever else I want, because I'm not just sticking to one game anymore, because that killed me. Let me tell you, that killed me. Especially,
I don't know, it seems like the best way to do it is to just constantly play one single game.
No, because I did that for, and it wasn't as bad for Hi-Fi Rush and Jedi Fallen Order. Like, it wasn't that bad, because I was super enjoying them and playing them and spending, like, I would stop playing that, like, take a day here or there. But Tales of Arise, after 12 sessions of playing that game, some shit like that, 2 straight weeks of just playing Tales of Arise, I was like, oh my god, this is so fucking long. It needs to be over.
But what if you did that just all the time? Just one long game after the other, no multiplayer, just 4 days a week, 5 hours at a time. You just played really long games.
No, I wouldn't. No. I can't.
You gotta find yourself that niche, and that could be your niche.
Look, I've tried finding myself that niche so many times with so many different things. My niche is I play whatever the fuck I want to play. That's my niche. If you guys want me, if y'all want me to play something, redeem the reward points and ask me to play something.
It's too expensive.
But otherwise,
all right, Cobb. I'm gonna make him a rogue streamer. Gonna make you play Rogue until you fucking beat Rogue.
There's no beating that game.
Yes, there is.
There is an end to it.
Look, if I don't if you redeem that to have me play Rogue, I'll play Rogue. But if I don't like it after like 2 weeks, and it takes me 2 weeks and I'm still nowhere near the end, I'm just going to stop, because it does. In
theory, it could just click for you, and you could finish it in one run.
Yeah. You could.
Yeah, I could. It won't.
You won't.
I won't.
Yeah, no.
I can tell you 100% right now, I probably won't like it. Just because I don't like the style. I don't like the whatever it's called. Like, I like the roguelites and whatnot, but like the art, like whatever it's called. You know what I'm saying.
Rogue?
The ASCII art?
Yeah, that's ASCII stuff.
Okay.
I don't like it. I'm not gonna like it. Like, yeah, it's funny that L stands for llama, and that's the enemy you fight. But, like, I'm not gonna like it. I'm probably not gonna find it fun.
I don't know, Rogue's pretty cool.
But
what if you drank a plaid potion? What if I told you they were plaid potion?
Look,
what if he told you had to fight the letter P?
Hmm?
It's got its novelty, I'm sure. And maybe I'll like it for the novelty, but it would be the same as playing Shower with Your Dad Simulator. I'll be done after 2 hours.
What if I told you attacking melee with an arrow was better than shooting them?
That doesn't make sense.
No.
It's not how real life works.
I don't know. Like, if you're not good at shooting an arrow, but you have an arrow, and you just go up there and stab people with it.
Then why not have a dagger?
Well, because sometimes you have nothing but arrows.
Why would you have arrows if you're not good with arrows?
It's what you found.
But why would you go out into the world and not have anything on you?
Do you take a dagger everywhere you go?
I don't go places that require daggers.
You go out in the world, buddy, you require a dagger.
Well, if I legit required a dagger, I would go out into the world with a dagger, or whatever other weapon I'm decent with. I wouldn't just go into a world with nothing.
You just told us you do, though.
No, because I don't need it. I don't need daggers in well, actually, it's fucking New Jersey in the United States. Maybe I do need a dagger. But still,
that's what I'm saying.
Still, I go to Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I don't need a dagger. Okay?
Debatable. Definitely debatable. But so you're enjoying Star Ocean?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm like I said, I'm liking it a lot more than I thought I was going to, but probably because I lowered my expectations. We'll see how it goes. It's really interesting story because the two main characters, like the Letitia is these names. Letitia, I can't remember her last name, and Aliard, I believe is her ward's name, are from the planet that you're on in this game. And then you have Raymond. Yeah. Raymond Lawrence. And his brother,
all those Carls.
His brother. I can't remember what his brother's name was, but it's something just as dumb as Raymond. But it's like you have this fancy fantasy name, Letitia and Baliard or whatever, and then you have Raymond. Because it's like he's from a separate planet. He's from a different planet with a different society and things like that. So like they made it different. The character models themselves aren't all that spectacular, like, and there are some technical issues. The game stutters quite a bit, which is probably where a lot of like the poor reviews on Steam are coming from, because people will review something very poorly if it hiccups once or twice. But apparently
how old is it?
It's not that old. It's within a year or two, I think.
Oh wow, I did not realize there had been a Star Ocean that recent.
Let's see. This week's store page, I played 3.1 hours, and it released October 27th, 2022.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's one of the newest games you've played in a while.
No. Hi-Fi Rush.
Oh, I forgot you did play that one.
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush.
Well, to be fair, I said one of the newest games, not the newest game.
It's true.
I mean, true. It probably is one of the newest. Probably, I can't think of. Yeah, it's probably outside of Hi-Fi Rush the newest game I played in a while. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, because for a while there, like, you were playing like Mega Man games, you were playing Resident Evil games, and then like other things that you've just either had for a while or that were like PS Plus games or whatnot. So yeah. Congratulations, playing a modern game for a change.
So it would be. This is the most recent, and then Sifu is the next one that would be most recent after Hi-Fi Rush. So it'd be Hi-Fi Rush, Star Ocean, Sifu, because Sifu was mid-2022, or early 2022, and then Tunic, and then Elden Ring.
Well, Elden Ring's already a year old, isn't it?
Yeah, and I played that game at launch.
Wow, so is Horizon Forbidden West.
Mm-hmm.
Man, where did the year go?
Somewhere. But Star Ocean itself I'm very interested to see how they play the story, because you pick your character, and so I think there's snippets of story that I'll be getting because I chose Letitia. I think there's snippets of story that I'm going to get because I picked her, and missing minor things, like it's probably not major things that I'll be missing because I didn't pick Raymond. And I think that's like a cool way to introduce and play and put the story together.
You just gotta play twice.
No. Just
anything else you want to say about Star Ocean though before we move along?
No, not at the time being. We'll see how I feel about it when I beat it.
Yeah, you've got 36 more hours to go.
Yeah, not that far.
Drew, what is Tape to Tape?
So Tape to Tape is a hockey roguelite.
I was right. It is a hockey game.
It is a hockey game.
Right.
It's out in early development. Yeah, I probably talked about it when it came out as a demo earlier in the year.
Oh, right. This game actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it plays a bit like your old school, like NHL 94 kind of game. But as you're going, you get different ability, or you'll have options of what you want to do. And sometimes it's just take a rest, and like all of your players can either get one specific attribute highly boosted, or all four attributes slightly boosted. And then, or it might be play a game and you'll get a trait for a character, and then you'll go on to like the next thing, which might be a game where you might get an artifact which gives some sort of bonus to your whole team, or it might be some weird thing happens to your main character who like now all of a sudden has a special ability you can't get otherwise. And right now there's 3 worlds you go through. Yeah. I've finished one run, but it's cool. And as you win games, you earn rubber you can unlock abilities I think there's a bug where if you've played the demo, it has all the abilities unlocked right away. Whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Or you can upgrade your main character, which is probably what you should spend the points on anyway. I guess some of the abilities probably, depending on what is unlocked by default, probably worthwhile to unlock some of the other ones, or unlock some of the other playable characters, because you always get one like special character from one of the other teams you can randomly play, and almost all of them have some unique ability. Like there's a cultist who his ability is he randomly changes into some other character for a limited amount of time. Some players have like a yo-yo ability where you hit the button once to activate the ability, it like passes the puck away from you in whatever direction you're aiming, and then you can hit it again to pull it back to you, and you could like one timer off of that, or to make another pass, whatever. But it's like cool to be like, oh, puck just randomly, it just magically comes directly back to me without being touched. And I don't know, it's a fun game. I'm curious to see what more they add. They've been doing updates and patching it, fixing bugs that people are reporting and whatnot. So they're doing work, but it's fun.
That's cool. Like, it's full games of hockey?
They're like 2-minute periods.
Okay, so it's fast.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
Yeah, I remember you played the demo during like that, like, what is that thing they do? Where it's like Demo Palooza or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it was. Back in like, looks like it was February according to Steam. But
I think it's called Steam Next Fest.
That sounds right. Sure.
I remember you playing it back then and looking it up at the time and being like, oh, this actually looks kind of cool. Like, it had like a fun art style and stuff like that.
Yeah, it looks good. It plays really well.
It's in early access right now, though?
Yeah, early access, it's $20. So
okay, that's
not
actually not too bad.
Expensive. Might even still be on sale. Let me go to the store page. Because, like, everything on Steam goes like, oh, it's on sale the first or two or whatever when it comes out. Is still on sale for $18 for the launch till May 22nd. So,
do they have like we plan on going like full release by X part of the year or whatever?
Let's see. Don't know if it does on the Steam page, but they have a Discord server apparently that you can join if you want, and I'd imagine maybe some talk on there. They're apparently building a wiki. Which,
that's kind of cool.
We plan to keep the game in early access until the end of the year to obtain as much feedback as possible and incorporate into the game. The exact duration is not set in stone and will depend on how much we feel needed.
Yep, gotcha. Yep. The publisher, Null Games, is where Matt Rory from Giant Bomb works now.
Oh shit, that's funny.
Yeah, I think it's like the first game that they've put out since he went there or something like that. Or just saw him tweet about it like when it came out. I was like, oh, look at that. That's weird.
Man, I am still waiting for this week's Bombcast to come out.
I saw they recorded in person.
Yeah, and like Jan also tweeted that he had to get on a plane to fly home, and that he would put the archive would go up afterwards.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, he tweeted yesterday, archive probably gonna pop up tomorrow on the feeds. But, it's end of the day on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I want my Bombcast. It's actually fine. Like, it's not like I would listen to it today anyway. I'll probably listen to it like tomorrow or Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just weird because usually like it's so on time.
Yeah.
Even when bad things happen, it is still there. But are you gonna keep playing tape to tape?
I'll probably give it a break for a little bit till they put like some next big thing in the early access stuff. But although I guess it'll depend if like my brother buys it and like wants to play, because it does also have like just play a game, like pick a team, play a game, and online multiplayer. Cool. Actually, don't know that it actually technically has online multiplayer, but when you load it up, it tells you, hey, you can go ahead and like screen share this or whatever through Steam multiplayer that way.
So even if it doesn't technically have multiplayer, it does now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to say about it?
Yeah. Like I said, it's good.
All right. Well, Rich, how was Guardians without spoiling anything?
Oh my god. Guardians is great, man. It's such a good movie. It's so fun. There's there's a bit there are two bits in the movie that I just want to talk about so fucking that like I don't know anybody else who's seen the movie yet to where I can't talk about them. One of them is not really spoilery, but it's a funny bit that I want to talk about. And then the other one, it's also not spoilery, but if you know it's coming, it's not going to be as good. And like it has nothing to. Both of these don't really have anything to do with the story. But if you like one of them, it's just like, oh, that's a good bit. But the other one, like if you know it's coming and you know this is going to happen, it's going to take away from when it happens what it is. So I'm mad that I can't talk about these with people. But I decided to go see it kind of on a whim on Sunday. Because I had been seeing potential spoilers online of such and such character's done, or such and such character's done, or this or that, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, alright, I need to just go see this movie so I don't get spoiled, because people are being rude as fuck. None of those happen to actually be anything legit that I had seen online, so I panicked for no reason, but I really wanted to see this movie. The story's super fun. It's, the soundtrack is fantastic. The actual, like, set design and art direction that they went with this, like, some of what they used in some of the sequences that I would have 100% expected to have been CG, like, kind of felt practical effects. Which, like, there's a sequence you might have seen in trailers where, like, they're all in space in different colored spacesuits. Like, that felt real to me. That didn't feel like it was a CG set. The way they, like, if it is CG, the way they set it all up and the way they put it together, it felt like it was an actual built set, which is just really good. There's one cameo that I was super excited to see, that you'll probably enjoy as well, Cobb, when you see it. And just overall, like, the whole story for the movie is just great. The High Evolutionary is the villain, and he's fantastic.
I didn't realize that was who the villain was going to be.
I thought I
Thanks
apologize
for spoiling.
I apologize if that's considered a spoiler. I didn't watch the trailers very much.
I actually don't know anything at all about this movie other than I think Adam Warlock is supposed to be in it.
Yeah, Adam Warlock is in it. He's played by fucking remember the kid in that?
Yeah, it's Will Poulter from
Will Poulter, yeah.
That movie with Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, that's exactly the movie. I don't remember the name of the movie, but Jason Sudeikis.
We're the Millers or something like that.
Yeah.
He
Rachel
plays
from
like
Friends.
Yeah, he played Jennifer Aniston. You mean? Yeah, he plays the kid that knows all the rap lyrics to "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls."
Yeah, but yeah, it is such a good movie. I love Crypto. Right, Cosmo. I love Cosmo.
Yeah, Crypto's a different dog.
Crypto is Superman's dog, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I love Cosmo. Cosmo's in it. And I love what they did with Groot in this one. Groot is fantastic. I have a question about something that happens with Groot as well. A couple of things about Groot that I'm just confused or curious about. But I don't want to spoil it for you. But honestly, I went and saw this movie, noonish? Something like, what did I see it? I saw it at 2:30. It's supposed to be a 2.5 hour movie. I saw it at 2:30. I didn't get out of the movie theater till almost 5:45. So it took an extra half hour for them with trailers and everything before the movie finished.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that is always accurate. Like, if a movie showtime is 2:30, the movie itself is starting 30 minutes later.
Yeah. The post-credit scenes are good. It is, yeah, I can't really say much without spoiling it, because it is, I mean, I think this is public knowledge, or, like, out in the open, like, it is the end of a trilogy, like.
Wow, thanks.
James Gunn isn't doing these anymore. He's part of, DC now. So it's like, who knows, based on that, whether or not they're ever going to do more Guardians and what.
I mean, so Marvel has basically confirmed that, like, this particular group is done. And, like, most of the actors, like, their contracts are done and they are done.
And a lot of the actors have expressed, like Drax, for instance, has expressed, like, he's ready to be done with Drax for now. He wants to do other things, but like so has fucking Tom Holland said with Spider-Man. He wants to like take a step back from Spider-Man for a bit and whatnot, and focus on being a family man with Zendaya. Like you can still do that and come back as your character in the future. I think
it's different for Dave Bautista though because he's in his 50s now.
Well, yeah,
almost 50.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like it's hard to go into the movie and talk about the movie without spoiling it. Because of like how everyone like all like what Marvel said, where it's like the end of the team or whatever, and this and that and blah blah blah. That it's like, all right, there are questions that I have that I could bring up that like could push you in a thought process of something that could happen here or there or whatever. And so it's like there's the whole like any comments on pretty much anything in the movie can be. With how they built the story and what happened in this movie and with the story and everything behind it being potentially the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie, like I can't talk about anything until I'm open to be able to talk about spoilers, if that makes sense. Like there's
it definitely does.
Because like you could go see you could talk about stuff that happened in Infinity War or in Endgame without spoiling it, but because of how the story goes from beginning to end, like literally right at the beginning, stuff happens to where it's like, all right, there's a major focus on the story about this, and if I talk about this, then I'm potentially spoiling something that could happen, and so like I'm just like, all right, I can't really talk about anything. I know you don't want the spoilers. I know, thinking you might go probably see it soon. I know you're done with opening weekend releases.
No, like I'm just done going to the movies. Yeah. I won't see it until it comes to like streaming.
Yeah. But it's definitely worth going to see. I'm glad, like, I don't often go to the movies by myself anymore. Before the pandemic, I would go all the time. But after the pandemic, I'm like, I don't really want to do that. If I'm going to go see movies, it's going to be with a bunch of people because, like, otherwise, I don't want to go potentially get COVID to go see a movie by myself. But this was worth it. This is a really, really good movie.
I think the only movie in the foreseeable future I might actually go see is Across the Spider-Verse.
That, of all movies, would probably be the worst movie for you to go see.
Yeah.
So
that would be a dumber move than going and seeing Guardians. 100%.
No. Here's the thing. It's not kids that are bad in fucking movie theaters. It's fucking adults. All of the worst experiences I have had in movie theaters are fucking adults. Playing on their fucking phones, having conversations, being fucking scumbags.
No, the last time, the time that you went to a movie and you walked out on were because the adults weren't taking care of their kids. Because of the kids, you had a bad movie experience.
Yeah, but that was one bad movie experience on top of another on a movie that kids shouldn't have been at to begin with, and the parents were encouraging it. Like, it's different if the kids are misbehaving and the parents are trying to, like, stop it. These parents were encouraging it. They were telling their kids to go run and ask for things. They were like, go ask your aunt if she needs anything. Like, those people were actual pieces of shit. And it's, yeah, like, every movie that we have been to in, like, the last, like, 2 years, there's been somebody in there just on their phone the whole time because they don't want to be at the fucking movie. They got dragged by somebody else. So rather than just saying no, they sit there and play on their fucking cell phones.
Yeah. I've never had a bad experience at a movie, 100%.
We also don't go to the 10 a.m. like matinees and stuff like that, and I think you do those often, right?
No.
I thought that's what you normally went to.
No, I go to... I mean, it depends. Like, if my brother's buying the tickets, even if my brother's buying the tickets, he's getting, like, 12 o'clock, 9, like, 11 or 12 o'clock tickets. Like...
Oh, see, I thought you always did, like, that very first showing.
But, like, I went and saw... When I saw... what time did I see... What's it called? Black Panther. Maybe Fandango will have my purchase history. But yeah, like, but I also
we went to see the Mario Brothers movie at like 2 o'clock on a weekend, and kids were making noise, but they were making noise appropriate to the fucking movie. And when some kids started screaming, the parent quieted them down.
Yeah, because you went and saw a good movie, and people want 100%. Your last bad experience was fucking Black Panther, which was a bad movie.
Like, yeah, I mean, but like the problem is like. People need to stop bringing fucking 2-year-olds to 3-hour-long movies.
So Black Panther was 9:45 in the morning. Thor: Love and Thunder was 12 o'clock. Doctor Strange was 9:45 in the morning, but I didn't buy those tickets. I don't think. Sonic 2 was before 12 o'clock. Spider-Man Far From Home was 3 in the afternoon.
I don't know. It's just one of those things.
That
Like
was 2019.
I legitimately like movies. There aren't good movies coming out anymore. Like, I will still watch the Marvel movies. I have no real anything for them. Like, I know you're saying Guardians is really good. I just don't care. Like, I'm glad it's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But, like, I'll watch it when it hits streaming, and, like, I will probably forget that it hits streaming and not watch it for months afterwards unless somebody says something.
Yeah.
Like, I am just so fucking tired of the same fucking movie over and over again.
But, and again, I don't think Guardians. This is like I don't get any of that superhero-y tropey bullshit from Guardian. Like, I don't get a sense of, oh, this is the same thing. I don't get any of that in this movie.
And that's great. I hope that is the case, but I also cannot spend $50 fucking to go to a movie and have it just be something that's boring.
Why are you spending so much money to go to the damn movie?
Well, the movie tickets are like $15. There's two of us.
Yeah.
Plus there's like the service fees because you buy them online. I mean, there's that too, because I never stop to get stuff on the way.
Well, I just don't. This was the first time I got food. I got stuff at a movie in probably 3 years. I don't get, or before the pandemic, since before the pandemic, even well before the pandemic. I don't get snacks at the movies.
So I usually don't get
snacks at the movies.
I usually don't get snacks. I usually get something to drink. Like I don't want to sit there for 3 hours and not have something to drink.
I usually won't even do that. Like the only reason I did it this time is because I went and saw it at like 2:30, like I said, and I had not eaten since 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I was like, all right,
which makes sense.
I need to get something right now. Like, if I had been able to eat before the movie, but because I built the cabinet that day, and and it was just like, it was a last minute decision to go see it, so I had an hour to shower and get to the movie theater. I did not have time to eat before going to the movie. That it was like, all right, I had to get something. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten anything, because I'm just like, fuck that. I ain't spending fucking... it cost me twice, almost 3 times the ticket price to get fucking... For a small drink... Or no, a regular size drink, because they don't have smalls. A regular size, which is fucking giant.
Yeah, it's like $9.
And a bag of fucking beef jerky, because that's really the only thing that's like kind of diet friendly for me. And even then, it's not really that diet friendly because it's super high in sodium.
Oh, that's fine. Sodium just dehydrates you. That's what you want.
Yeah, and
that's how you get the veins, man. That's how you get the vascularness.
They didn't even have fucking bottles of water. I was like, do you have bottles of water? He's like, well, you can get water from the machine. And I'm like, I'll just get a fucking diet soda or something. Just give me the machine. If I'm going to buy a machine cup for $9 fucking, I'm going to get a soda. Like, I'm not paying for water from the machine.
Oh, no, I agree with you.
Like, I would much rather have not had the soda. But yeah, it's, like, I get it. Movies are expensive. But I also, like I said, I've never had bad experiences at movies. I usually go see the afternoon movies. If I have a choice of what time to go see the movie, it's sometime between 11:30 and 3 o'clock during the weekend.
Yeah, we usually go to like mid-afternoon ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Or early to mid-afternoon.
I've never had a bad experience.
Yeah, it's just, like, we also, like, we haven't gone to, like, the opening weekend for a movie since before COVID either. So it's like... And I almost feel like when you go opening weekend, there's like a different energy in the theater.
There is.
Where like there might be noise, but it's like movie appropriate noise, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Opening weekend is like, that's where I go see movies opening weekend, because it's where I've experienced the best crowds and the best audience. Even the kids that are in the audiences are there because they want to see that movie, because their parents they're not just being brought there because their parents want to see the movie. Like, everyone wants to see that movie. The parents are willing to pay the price to see the movies at whatever price it is, because they want to all see it together at opening.
Yeah, everything after opening weekend, people just don't give a fuck.
Probably. I haven't seen a movie outside of opening weekend in a
See, I stopped wanting to deal with like definitely having to sit next to somebody, because I just fucking hate sitting next to people. there's once or twice where I've gone to the movies like by myself because Erica didn't care, and I've actually gotten 2 tickets just so no one would sit next to me.
You get 2 tickets at AMC's, and you make sure they're connected, and you sit in the middle and raise both sides.
Yeah, no, like I always do. Like I usually get 2 tickets on the end, and then I'll sit on the end so that I know no one will sit next to me.
Man, antisocial.
Well, like, people are just fucking weird and creepy, too. Like, a lot of people, like, I've only had it happen a couple of times, but some people just don't understand personal fucking boundaries with fucking strangers. Like, they'll just, like, immediately sit down and, like, stretch themselves out over, like, both armrests. I'm like, dude, like, stay on your fucking side. Or, like, the people that take their shoes off.
I've never experienced any of this. Like, you just have bad luck.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. But, like, again, I don't go to opening weekend very often.
You used to go to just as many opening weekends as I did. We
I was only doing it
together.
I was only doing it for like the big like Marvel releases and stuff like that. Like most other stuff, I was waiting like a week or 2 after it came out.
That's the only movies I would see.
I used to go see a lot of movies in the theater because like I do genuinely like movies, but it just got to the point between the cost and the fucking crowds, it just wasn't worth going to the movie theaters. And then like I've just hit that point where the Marvel movies aren't good anymore. The Star Wars like the big blockbusters aren't fun. Like I don't want to watch them anymore. So it's like, why am I going to spend this money?
Yeah.
Like I can spend the same amount of money and buy it on Blu-ray and own it forever, or at least until the Blu-ray degrades.
Then I'm gonna. Then I hate to say it, in our medium of a podcast that we are, where we talk about nerd things, you can't say no spoilers.
I absolutely can.
You're making that active choice to not see the movie.
But so I could easily say, hey, it's been 2 weeks. I'm going to take my headphones off, shoot a message into the chat when you're done. But the movie just came out. So I'm saying no spoilers more for the sake of not having to put a bunch of spoiler tags. But if next week you want to go on a 20-minute rant, you can have at it.
But I'm not going to think about it next week. You know that.
Well, it'll be on the.
Next week.
I'll leave it on the thing.
I'm not gonna. I see. That's the thing, though. I'm not gonna have this. I'm still going to like the movie, but I'm probably not gonna remember as much. I'm not gonna have as much excitement.
You just gotta go see it again.
I ain't doing that. I ain't doing it.
Why not?
Gone are the days of me I'm sorry. Yes, 100% saying it. Wasting the money and seeing a movie more than once in theaters.
Oh, it'll be fine. It's only another $40.
No, I went and the last time I did that was I saw what was it? It was Captain America: Winter Soldier 3 times in theaters by opening week.
Wait, was Winter Soldier before or after Star Wars: The Force Awakens? I guess it was because I think Force Awakens was 2015.
I don't think I saw Force Awakens more than once.
I thought you saw it at least twice.
No, I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't remember. I know I saw Avengers 5 times. I saw it 3 times opening weekend. 4 times. I saw it twice opening day.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I ain't doing that shit anymore. I'll see a movie once. Like, we've had the discussion before. If a band doesn't play new shit in a set after, like, me seeing them twice, I don't need to see them again. I'm not doing. It's the same with movies. If the movie's not going to be any different after the second time I see it, or after the first time I see it, then I'm not going to go see it again in theaters. It's a waste of money.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
And we all know Drew wouldn't either, because if Drew had his way, movie theaters would all just get shut down.
Oh no, people can go waste their money on movies. I disagree on going to see a band, part of it. But yeah,
well, that's because you've seen the same band like 6 times this month.
No, I have seen no repeat bands yet this year.
But here,
in the last 12 months, you have though.
My thing is,
yes.
my thing about the band thing, and we talked about this in the past. I went and saw Foo Fighters twice, and they played the same exact show 3 years apart from me. It's just the only difference was his leg was broken in one of them.
I guarantee that's false.
I've seen. So by the same exact show, I mean they played the same shit. Pretty much all of the same shit, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 songs.
How many, out of curiosity, Rich, Like, were these all actual Foo Fighters concerts, or were they like festival concerts?
Well,
so I think you saw them once at
I saw them once
Firefly,
at Firefly,
right?
and the other one was their festival that they put together in Washington D.C. for their celebration anniversary.
Okay. Then maybe those were probably much closer because they have a more limited time.
They had like 2 hours for their set.
I mean, to be fair, the Foo Fighters are also at a size and age now where they don't necessarily, like, they're not coming out and playing, like, a bunch of tracks off of their newest album when they tour. They're playing, like, 2 or 3 tracks, and then they're playing all their hits, just like bands like Green Day and stuff do.
And I've seen Coheed 3 times, and each time the set and the show has felt 3 or 4 times. Maybe 4 times, but at least 3 times.
At least twice.
I know twice. Definitely twice. But maybe at least 3 or 4 times, where each show felt completely different from the previous show, from other shows. I have seen bands where I'm like, all right, well, I've seen them twice now. It felt the same. There was nothing special. And I've seen bands where I will see them again a 3rd, 4th, 5th time because every time I see them feels different.
Yeah. Look, man,
so
I've seen Newfound Glory 3 times in the last year and a half. Every one of them was different.
Yeah.
I mean, they played a lot of the same songs at them because, like, they know what songs people want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was literally just them playing their first 2 albums front to back. So, like, you kind of went into that one knowing what you were about to hear. But you should just go to more concerts, is what we're saying. It's only $25 today.
I don't. That's
come see Thrice on May 30th. It's only $25.
Don't even know what the hell Thrice is.
Look up Thrice. Listen to The Artist in the Ambulance.
Yep.
And then come see Thrice on May 30th.
Yeah.
I'm good.
They're like post-hardcore emo, screamo sort of stuff. You'll love it.
Will I, though?
Actually, probably. There's also Yellow Card. I'm pretty sure Yellow Card tickets were on that $25 thing.
Only Hershey.
Right now, the only band... the only band I want to see is Sum 41's. They're calling it quit.
Which I think they announced that they're going to do one more world tour next year.
They've got an album coming out at some point the end of this year or early next year, and they're planning a world tour for that album.
Is there anybody left other than Derek in the band?
I haven't.
I thought everybody else left.
But let's move on because we got interrupted and we're running an hour and a half now, and we've still got Star Trek to talk about.
Yeah, Star Trek.
Yeah.
How about that, guys? Who liked it? Who didn't like it?
I enjoy this one. I enjoy this one a lot. It's really good.
Drew?
Yeah, I actually really liked it. At the very beginning, I was like, fucking whatever, but then, no, got way into it.
It is better than I remembered it being. It's also, not prehistoric. What's the fucking word I'm trying to think of? Proto. It's like proto MCU.
Oh,
like,
okay.
It's kind of like, if you watch that movie, it has a lot of the same, like, DNA as a lot of, like, the MCU and even Star Wars movies that we've gotten over the last decade.
Yeah.
Like the main character is kind of like, you know, goofy, stupid, but also, like, he's smart and, like, knows what he's doing, but, like, puts on a show. Like, that's very much, like, every one of those movies that we've gotten from these big franchises, but, like, this did it first. Or I guess second, because Iron Man came out before it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, this was definitely from an era before all of that stuff.
Yeah. It's just, I remember watching this back when it first came out, and, like, I wasn't 100% sold because my whole life I was like, oh yeah, I'm a Star Wars guy. And then this came out, and I was just like, wow, this is really good. I didn't know Star Trek could be this good. And I enjoyed it. I knew, like, the basic idea of some Star Trek. I love the fact that, like, it's not like a remake. It's kind of a sequel or continuation of the original, like, movies/series because it's like a time loopy type thing that kind of restarts the entire story, but it doesn't.
I mean, it 100% is. Like, it does, like, it is a time loop, or not a time loop. It's like an alternate timeline, but continuation of the original series because, like, spoilers if you've never seen fucking 2009 Star Trek, like, Leonard Nimoy Spock is like, I am from 130 years in your future where, like, I was best friends with you. You are long dead, but, like, this world is not what it should have been. Like, your father didn't die when I knew you. Yeah, he was proud when you graduated the Starfleet Academy.
It was in my opinion one of the best ways to do a remake. Because, yes, you give us, like, this new telling, but you give us a reason why it's new and different. And it is a good way to reintroduce a series, because the next one is Into Darkness, we were talking about earlier, where it's Wrath of Khan. The main villain is Khan in the next one, which was the main villain in the second Star Trek movie.
And, like, a random episode from the original series.
Yeah. And, like, but, like, even in that one, like, spoiler alert, things are different. In the original Wrath of Khan, Spock dies, whereas Kirk dies in this one. And that's why it's like the quest for Spock is the third movie, because they're like trying to find him after he already died or something. I don't really know. I get lost from that point on. But like it was a very good way of creating a retelling of an old story, but giving it new legs to walk on by like feeding off of what it used to be. And giving us something new, but reasonably new.
Yeah. And they made William Shatner like a rogue rule, or I'm sorry, not William Shatner, Captain Kirk like a rule breaker and a rogue in a way that like William Shatner's Kirk wasn't. Like he was just more of a playboy.
Mm. Yeah. But wasn't he always sort of kind of like Drew? You might know more. I think you watched more Trek than any of us.
I didn't watch very much original series. I've watched a shitload of Next Generation, which is fantastic.
But like, wasn't Kirk, even though it wasn't he also like kind of a rule breaker? Because like that's like the Kobayashi Maru shit like is part of the original series.
Yeah, that is part of Star Trek 2, where like Kirstie Alley is in that movie, and she actually, I believe it's her character, asks like flat out like how he did it, because in that movie he didn't get caught for cheating, as far as I remember.
Yeah,
but like the Kobayashi Maru is an unwinnable thing. Like it's there to show like what sort of decision making a potential captain has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just I very much love it. I like all like the nods to like the old series where like Setface is done. They had Zulu, like he had this sword because he was a fencer. Did they say be myself, Scotty? I think they did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was like a reference to that at one point.
I had to stop halfway through the movie and go on an outburst with work. So like my at one point I was just dissociating while watching it after that whole mental outbreak. So like might have not 100% remembered everything. But yeah, it was. I love that it's that future Spock is like, make sure past Spock doesn't know me. And Kirk is like, why? Is that going to like blow up the planet? Or like, it's like, was that going to destroy the universe if he knows about you or whatever? And he's like, yeah, sure. Pretty much is just like, yeah, I'll let you think that.
And then young Spock calls him on it later.
Yeah, he's like, you lied. He's like, no, just let him think it. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's cool. It is cool that they managed to use Leonard Nimoy in those movies.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because like his species just lives a really long time, so they were able to write something in the kind of far future and explain why like nobody else would have possibly been around.
Yeah, and I love or I miss Anton Yelchin, and I think this was his last movie.
No, he's in the sequel. He was in a couple movies after that.
Is he in the next one?
I want to say he died before the second one came out, but after he was done filming.
Probably.
Oh, actually, yeah. He died in 2016.
Yeah.
So the second movie was like 2013?
2016 was Beyond.
Yeah, so he was actually in Beyond also.
Yeah,
because it looks like him and Leonard Nimoy both had... Oh, actually, you know what? It looks like Leonard Nimoy wasn't in it at all. He was just in a picture at some point. But Anton Yelchin, it was his final performance, yeah.
Yeah. He was awesome.
Yeah, I liked him. He was very good in that movie too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did forget that like I don't remember the other two at all. I think I saw the third one. I might not have. I remember the second one because it's Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan.
As Khan, yeah.
But
and I remember like they were trying to, during like the release and everything, they were trying to keep it secret that he's Khan. Like they don't never give his name or anything like that. And so it's
even in the movie, they never actually call him Khan until very late in the movie.
Well, it's not until like the Khan scene, basically, which again is given to Zachary Quinto as Spock because it was Kirk who dies in this storyline.
Yeah, so he doesn't die though.
Well,
Whereas Spock, like, they don't do the same thing where, like, whatever happened to Spock, where, like, they literally had to go find Spock afterwards.
Yeah,
like they're able to save Kirk.
So, like, in the second one, he dies, but because of the flumps or whatever their names are, and how they reproduce and can regenerate, Bones is able to use their DNA to sequence something to bring Kirk back to life.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, he did die, but he wasn't dead. In a sense. Yeah. Or kind of.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, they call him, I just looked it up, they call him John Harrison throughout the movie. Mm-hmm. At some point they find, like, the old paperwork or something like that and are able to identify who he really is.
Yeah.
I also do think it's very fun that, like, that character originally appeared in, like, just a random episode of, like, the original Star Trek. And then they made him, like, the main villain of, like, the second, like, theatrical movie.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he appeared, I just looked it up, he appeared in Space Seed, a 1967 episode where he was portrayed by Ricardo Montalban. And that same actor plays him in the 1982 Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Because I think he's, like, messed up the way Khan is in the Darkness one. And they, like, put him in, like, suspended animation and, like, leave him or something like that. I might be misremembering that, because I've never actually seen the episode. But I have seen Wrath of Khan before. It's one of, like, 2 Star Trek movies I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Or I should say, like, original Star Trek movie.
The only 2 Star Trek movies I've ever seen were 2009 and Into Darkness.
I saw Wrath of Khan, and I saw whichever one had Kirk and Picard. I was hoping Drew would chime in with that, but apparently not.
I don't know the movies.
Well, what
but
use are you then? Man, you're supposed to be the Star Trek expert.
Like I said, I've watched a bunch of Next Generation. It's all... And, like, I knew, most of Star Trek.
So, do you watch any of the news series that are on, like, Paramount?
Nah. I've heard some of them are really good, though.
Yeah, I know people really like Discovery and whatever the spin-off of Discovery is.
I wanted to... Picard didn't they also have that series going?
Yeah, I think it's on, like, its 3rd or 4th season, and it's, like, wrapping up.
I've been meaning to watch that, but...
I know one of them has the guy that played Black Bolt in the Marvel stuff as, Captain Pike, while he is the, person flying the ship. I'm not using words real well right now.
No. I know, I believe in Picard, LeVar Burton is in that, and his daughter Mika is also in Picard.
So I don't think she's not in Picard, she's in, like, Discovery or the other one, as, like, an earlier descendant of his character from Generations, which is, like, a fun little thing.
Yeah.
But anything else about the movie?
No.
Rich?
No, not really. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. I had a better time watching it than I thought I would. And then, like, watching it, I'm like, oh, right, that's right. This movie is actually, like, it has a lot of, like, fun stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, for the next book club, we're still on JJ Abrams month, let's call it. I figure might as well do his other big series and watch Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Because I believe you guys both have Paramount Plus, right? Because we just watched Star Trek.
Yeah.
I watched it through Vudu, but I
thought you had Paramount Plus also.
I don't think we do.
Isn't that just part of Comcast?
No, that's Peacock.
Okay.
Well, double check if there's anywhere you can watch it or
I
not
also might
without
be able
having to pay.
find it on the Vudu account that we have.
Yeah, like, if it's not free, let me know, and I will pick something else next week. But it's available on... I know for a fact it's available on Paramount Plus.
I could also probably make another burner trial for Paramount if need be.
That's true. That is also pretty easy to do, isn't it? Oh, it's actually... apparently it's on Fubo, too, which isn't that free? No, it's not.
I thought that was... I know Vudu is how you watched.
Yeah. But, yeah, so Ghost Protocol, it's the one from 2011, so it's, like, the first of, like, the new run. Because you had Mission... So it's 4, I guess, technically.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll stick with that. Now,
fun.
What?
When seeing Guardians, they had the trailer for the new Mission Impossible, and people were getting mad because, like, oh, I can't stand Tom Cruise, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, It's Mission Impossible. Just let it be. Relax.
It's also apparently on Pluto, which is free.
Okay, cool.
So we're good.
Yeah, there's so many goddamn platforms anymore, it's hard to keep track of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the next little bit real quick. Drew,
Yes.
roll a d4.
Oh god. Hold on. D4.
Even have 4
I got a 4.
available.
I did.
All right.
It wasn't right next to me. It was just at my desk.
Which is, honestly, it's impressive that you had one just already.
I have a whole bunch of dice that have been sitting out for like 3 months since we were supposed to start a different D&D campaign with one of Sarah's friends, and I've just been too lazy to put them away.
That's fair. All right, so you rolled a 4?
Yes.
All right, so I had reshuffled the options. So 4 now is actor.
Okay.
So next week, or I guess not next week, but in 2 weeks, like when we do our next. Oh no, wait, Rich, you would technically have the next pick. So we'll do it this way. Next week, Drew, pick an actor.
Okay.
And then Rich will have the next book club pick, and it'll be something by that actor, and we'll each pick something by that actor.
Okay.
Man, I had an actor picked and everything.
Well, you got to pick the director.
Not gonna. Well, I mean, technically, I also got to pick musical. So
That's true. You cheating son of a bitch.
I didn't. You're the one who gave me the pick for director.
But yeah, so in 2 weeks we'll do Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and then our picks after that will be an actor. The actor will be Drew's choice, but the first thing will be Richie's choice, because that won't get confused.
Drew, I'm not telling you to pick Michael Keaton, but you should pick Michael Keaton.
No, I won't.
We already watched the best Michael Keaton movie, though.
But we didn't watch Birdman.
No, we watched Batman Returns, the best Michael Keaton movie.
We didn't watch Birdman.
I think that is the 3 Michael Keaton movies I could.
I mean, there's Multiplicity.
There's Birdman.
Yeah, well, he said Birdman.
That's one of the 3.
Oh,
There's Jack Frost.
I know.
go.
There's Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh, right, he is in that.
Technically, there's Morbius.
All right, wait, maybe
Like-
I will.
I'm just saying we could watch Morbius.
You're the one who's always mad at bad movies, so this is your choice. Beetlejuice. I can't remember if you said that. The Founder.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Also, Mr. Mom,
American Assassin. He was supposed to be in Batgirl.
The Flash.
See, this is the tough spot where it's like, well, I don't necessarily want to have us wind up picking movies we've all already seen. You know,
RoboCop.
But so the
He's in
interesting.
RoboCop?
He was in the new RoboCop.
Oh, that's
okay.
right. That's right. Yeah. So Drew, the kind of fun part about this though, you come in next week with an actor, and then Richie has to just come up with a movie. So you might pick an actor based on a movie that you want us to watch. But now you're making me and Richie also pick movies with an actor that like maybe we don't have anything on top of our heads.
Fair.
So, and like it sounds like you guys haven't seen Jack Frost. So if we do Michael Keaton, we're going to have to fucking find out if Jack Frost is available anywhere.
I have seen Jack Frost.
Well, thanks for ruining my plan. Have you seen Mr. Mom?
I have not seen Mr. Mom. Jack Frost is a rental only everywhere.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Or it's on something with a P. Popcorn flicks.
But like, here's the thing though. I had already seen Star Trek,
That's true.
and I think I might have seen Ghost Pro. I don't remember that. Probably not.
I saw I mean, same with Star Trek. I saw it over a decade ago. Like, I could not tell you anything about it. So,
I'm not saying we can't pick things. I just feel like if there's a choice, we should pick things that like we haven't seen, or it's been forever since any of us have seen.
Well, yeah, I mean, so that's the idea. It's not specifically something we all haven't seen, but it'll be your week, so it'll be something that you haven't seen. If we've all seen it,
or at least something that like it could also be something that like you have a like for that you don't think either of us have seen.
Right. Yeah.
And like Richie had never seen a fucking Muppet movie.
I'm sure I'd seen it in the past.
No,
Fucking
you'd never
couldn't
seen
even
it.
Pick out one in the fucking.
Oh, that's right. The Framed. You didn't even know it was a Muppet movie.
Even
No,
though there was fucking Muppet.
No. Like, that's what I said. Like, when I saw the Muppets, I was like, my brain was just like, fuck it. Because I don't know which fucking Muppet movie that was going to be. because there's a million of them. So my brain was just like, I know the genre of it's Muppets, but I'm just like, whatever. And my brain just stopped working and stopped functioning.
But I mean, like the second image was Fozzie's mugshot. It could have only been the Great Muppet Caper.
I've never seen that.
That's what I'm saying.
I
You've
don't
never
know
seen a
that
Muppet
exists. I've seen Muppet movies, but not that Muppet movie.
All right, Drew, your actor is Kermit the
I
Frog.
was literally about to say, does Kermit the Frog count?
Fine. I will do that, because then we'll get to watch the new Muppet movie that I fucking love.
Why would you pick the new one and not the best ones?
Because I know this one, and I love this one. The one where they're bringing the band back together. Like,
I mean, that
I
is
love
a good
it.
one.
It is such a good one, and it's written
There's a new
by
one
Jason
coming
Segel.
out.
No, it's a series on D+.
Oh, I didn't know it was a series. That's even better.
It's the first episode is like a behind the music with the band. I'm forgetting their name. Doctor, what's his name?
I'm drawing a blank on it too.
But like the first episode is like a behind the music, or starts as like sort of a behind the music type thing, which turns into literally them trying to bring the band back together. And like trying to modernize them. So like they try to turn them into Daft Punk. They try to turn them into like all these like different music genres that are around since they stopped. Dr. Teeth.
Yeah. I just saw that Ben Schwartz was in it. And he has a scene, like, he apparently agreed to do it just based on the fact that he got to do a scene with Animal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep, nope, that tracks. We're good.
Yeah.
Did not know it was a series, though. I thought it was just a new movie.
Yeah, it's a series.
Well, that's fun. So, one last thing real quick, and then we'll wrap up, because we are going a little longer. You guys are not going to particularly care about this, but I watched the 312th episode of One Piece. And it was maybe one of the saddest pieces of fiction I've ever seen.
How so?
Okay.
Sorry, I was trying to take a timestamp. It is one of the saddest things I've ever seen, and the reason it was sad was because they fucking said goodbye to their boat. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Their boat apologized to them for not being able to carry them anymore, as they had to like give it like a Viking funeral at sea. Like, a boat should not have made such a sad scene happen. Also, full, like, disclaimer, their boat apparently had, like, some level of, like, weird sentience because they took such, like, they didn't really take good care of it because that ship was in bad fucking shape by the end, but, like, they cared about it a lot. Like, they treated it like part of the crew, even though it was just a boat. And apparently in that world, like, sometimes ships get, like a mystical spirit or something like that. So, like, the boat literally, they had to go do a thing. The boat was already kind of dead. The boat somehow, like, convinced somebody to repair it without actually asking to be repaired, and then found its way to rescue them as they had to jump off of, like, a giant bridge thing. And then once they were clear of the giant bridge thing, literally broke in half. And luckily, like another boat had just pulled up of, like, allies. And then it was just 20 minutes of them, like, setting the boat on fire, doing flashbacks of, like, things that happened, and just all the characters sobbing as, like, the boat apologized to them for not being a better boat. And it was sad. It was incredibly, incredibly sad.
I feel I've encountered sadness to this nature and something I just can't come up with whatever.
Oh yeah, like, there are tons of, like...
No, like, similar
like that
to it's an inanimate fucking object and I'm sad about it, like, no longer being around or whatever.
I mean, like, it's like the Velveteen Rabbit. Like, that rabbit was just a stuffed fucking animal that they had to burn because of, like, cholera or something like that. But yeah, it was quite, like, even Erica was sitting there and, like, just, like, she was okay until the ship spoke and said, "I'm sorry." And then she's just like, "What do you mean you're sorry?" And then, like, I could just hear her, like, sniffling and, like, wiping at her eyes.
Stupid boat.
Yeah.
Being
like,
sorry.
Yeah, I actually looked it up, without, like, I just did what is the like, or not even what is, I asked if, like, the scene of the ship burning was the saddest part of One Piece, and, like, all, like, the, like, non-spoilery answers you could get just, like, off the Google homepage were, like, it's, like, number 2. Like, there is, like, out of, like, 1,100 episodes, there is one other thing that happens in this show that was fucking sadder than their boat dying.
Stupid
I'm like,
boat.
what the fuck? But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because, man, fucking boats, guys.
Yeah.
Fucking boats.
Also, like, episode 312 was also the end of, like, the first, like, it's not the first, like, major arc, but I feel like it's the one that I hear people talk about the most, like, the Water 7 Enos Lobby stuff. And, like, I see, like, 100% why people are so hooked on this show. Like, just the amount of, like, world building and character stuff that happened in, like, the 40 episodes or so that, like, the two kind of storylines took place over was just, it was a lot. It was a lot for a show that, like, for the first, like, 300 episodes, were really just about a bunch of goofy pirates occasionally getting into, like, big fights. But that's probably going to be it, unless either of you guys have anything else you want to talk about.
No.
All right. Well, if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, a whole bunch of other places. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. It all helps a whole bunch. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Twitter and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what does your streaming schedule look like this week?
Twitch.tv/b_1. That's for gaming, streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. We are looking at playing Star Ocean tonight, the day this releases. And then on Sunday, probably Star Ocean, if not Remnant and Monster Hunter. And it's just some combination of like Remnant or Monster Hunter and Star Ocean pretty much throughout the next couple of weeks. Once I get through Star Ocean, we'll get Zelda, and after that, probably do Demon's Souls PS5, because people want to see that. So yeah, we've got plans coming up for the next couple of weeks, months. On Friday, the 12th, come hang out on stream, and you can join me for community Fall Guys. What's the word? Custom matches. So it'll just be everyone who's with us will be able to join us. I'll have a Discord channel open so that people can chat. I'll have several open. One is if you want to be on stream, one if you don't want to be on stream, and a couple of overflow channels so that if there's too many people, you can jump to a different. So come check that out. And on the 3rd of June is also my 2-year stream anniversary subathon / community tournaments. More info on that as it comes.
Fun times. Glad you're doing community stuff.
I tried to do a lot more of it last year, but I didn't have much of a community, and the communities that I was part of I was really only part of one community. It just wasn't super interactive outside of just watching streams. They wouldn't like really join in on streams, but I've recently joined a bunch of other communities and have gotten in touch with a bunch of other streamers that like all right, maybe they'll actually join to play. Yeah,
that's a good idea. But with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.